That feeling when your coffee matches your mood? It's a vibe. Explore coffee that fits yours with Starbucks by Nespresso for Vertuo, now at Target. Simply add what you love for that perfect cup of coffee that keeps up with you.
CuriosityStream has thousands of documentary films and shows available on demand on any device. We're the Netflix for nerds, the Hulu for history buffs, the Disney Plus for the scientist in us. There sure are a lot of streaming services, aren't there? CuriosityStream is the one you definitely need if you're the type to nature dock and chill, if you're an armchair astronaut, if you prefer physics to psychics, or perhaps you know a precocious paleontologist. Go to curiositystream.com to learn more and sign up today.
All right, Shutter Cameron, John Ritchie, 94 WIP. Yeah, Phillies baseball, we'll take a bite out of the Phils coming up shortly as they lost again last night. And, of course, the Eagles, they just say, let's not play the starters. I think it's a joke. And, look, Hurts is a big part of this, where I think you want to develop him. I think you want to try to push and develop a team that last year went 4-11-1. I think you want to get Hurts and some of these young receivers to get action against an opposing team in a game, not just a scrimmage. I think the fact that, as John pointed out, and he's so right, the tweet from Mike Garafolo, which, likely came from Howie Roseman. My instincts tell me information like this probably comes from the Eagles general manager. When it is phrased as saying, quote, they had some hot, humid physical joint practices this week. And, that's part of why they're not going to play the, starters tonight. That's lame. I mean, I'm not saying by Garafolo. He's just reporting as it's presented to him. That, to me, is the mindset of a general manager, Howie, who is actually not only telling Garafolo, but essentially his own players, you guys did enough. Yeah. You know what? A couple of days ago, guys, it was hot and it was humid, and we had some joint practices, and that's enough. That's weak.
If you're tired, then it's okay to stop. It's okay to hang it up and not push through.
And this is where we get a lot of what we get in society, where it's, a lot softer and a lot easier and a lot gentler and okay. Don't like it. It's not okay. I shouldn't say okay.
I despise this.
Let's go to the phones. 215-592-9494. We're also going to get to the Phils with a lot of stuff this segment as well. Let's talk to CJ right now. What's up, CJ?
What's up?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, so
CJ.
got a couple questions. Earlier this week, we had a conversation about Howie having a great offseason, how you and ESP just been screaming about Howie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've already said that they make joint decisions. Coaches and everybody makes joint decisions. We've already seen the team isn't deep. Our second and third stringers just are not good, which we all understand Howie hasn't done a good job in bringing people in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that, and I'm for people playing in the preseason, but if you know those guys aren't going to be good, they're saying, hey, we're going to go in healthy. And again, we know Howie's behind the scenes pulling strings and say, hey, don't play these guys. So again, this is Howie. This is trying to keep people healthy. This is them thinking, hey, they haven't seen us yet. Let's try to come out the gate, not have them have any type of schemes, which I've never really seen a lot of teams put their real playbook in the preseason. They put a couple plays in,
Sure,
but they're not
course.
putting their plays in. But the more you have to complain, your real issue is how things have been handled, which we've all seen. Howie has his fingerprints on everything.
Yeah, I tell you what,
So
man, CJ.
All you're screaming at the roof is at your favorite guy, Howie.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. And look, I expressed on whatever day that was, we talked about it earlier this week, that I do think for the most part Howie did a very good job this offseason, but am still worried that we as a fan base are not out of the woods with an organization that is bungled with regard to not, giving the head coach the kind of autonomy he should have. So, I haven't known where that issue comes out. I sensed it was still not great. And yes, this is a mark against Howie, and I 100% agree with you on that, CJ. I think it's terrible. I mean, the head coach, there's no doubt when Vermeil came, Vermeil was running the show. When Andy came, Andy was running the show.
Yeah.
And it aggravates me that I do not believe this front office, which also includes Lurie, by the way, I don't think that they permit the head coach to really be the head coach any longer.
But it means you have to hire a guy who's ready to fill that seat. And that's not what Howie wants because,
Nope.
hey, I respect some of the things Howard does.
Yep.
I think he's good with the books. So when we had Joe Douglas, I was like, hey, I think this is a good pairing. A guy that can spot talent, who's been trained by Ozzie, with a guy who's good with the numbers. I thought that was a great pairing.
Right.
And I think the rest of the league thought so too. That's why he was out of here fast. Not that we got rid of him.
He got hired. Yeah, he got hired away by the Jets. Look, CJ, it's a reasonable call. Yeah, I think it's a mark against Howie that this is going on. Now, I will say,
there are no checks and balances against Howie any longer. I think that Joe Douglas did some of that. Like, he provided the old school approach with Howie providing this new wave outlook. And now that Howie has it the way he wants it, where he is no longer checked, where everything that passes through that building on the way to Jeffrey Lurie's ears goes through him.
Yeah, I
know.
know.
It's the way he wants it.
Sure, I agree.
So it's great for Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
Terrible for Philadelphia football.
So I agree with you largely, John. I'll just say this. The one thing that is sort of the unknown is how much of this is Lurie pulling the string. Because I do think Howie does have a self-preservation
But I think
tendency.
everything he knows is filtered through Howie. So, of course, his viewpoint is very similar to Howie.
But what I'm getting at is how much of this is still that Jeffrey Lurie was burned by Chip and no longer will allow any head coach, whether Howie's here or not, will allow any head coach to have the kind of power that Andy Reid used to have.
I wonder how long this has to fail before he comes around and says, hey, we need to give like a real football head the autonomy to do things the right way.
And just to use the guy that Jeffrey Lurie in recent years has been compared to, and he's done it a lot longer and a lot worse than Lurie had, is Jerry Jones. The one time Jerry Jones, I mean, at least to the best of my knowledge, the one time Jerry Jones really stepped out of his comfort zone to say, I'm turning the organization over to someone else, for the most part did, was when Bill Parcells was brought in for those 4 years. But otherwise, for the most part, Jerry Jones has had weak coaches. He's had weak coaches. The Garrett thing for a whole decade, all those other guys he had after Jimmy Johnson, other than Bill Parcells, going on now close to 25 years. And I do wonder how much – so I agree with you. And there's no doubt in my mind there's a self-preservation component with Howie not wanting a coach to have too much power. But I also wonder how much of it is that Jeffrey Lurie doesn't want a head coach to have too much power. I don't know the answer. I just know this. It's a reasonable thing to speculate on because I do think – both Howie and Lurie were affected by the Chip experience. I really believe that. 215-592-9494. Hey, we have a pair of Fandango movie codes to give away today to see Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. It's rated PG-13 and in theaters now. So basically, 2 tickets for you to see G.I. Joe Origins in theaters. This, John, on a day 30 years ago, big album came out, the great band Pearl Jam, with the album 10, 30 years ago today. And a great opportunity for us, John, you, James, and everyone at 215-592-9494 to talk about great albums through the years and, frankly, try to arrive at the answer, best album of all time. Now, to be clear, it can't be a greatest hits, right? I mean, we're just saying, like, that's...
Definitely not.
Yeah,
No,
that's,
greatest hits is not.
That would be...
Nope.
So no greatest hits allowed. Richie, when you think of a great album, I don't know if you're going Mount Rushmore or not. I am not going to go Mount Rushmore, but tell me where you want to go here. Best album of all time. What are you thinking?
Wow, maybe I was thinking of going Mount Rushmore. Maybe that's the wrong way to go. I guess I'll pull. I won't go as Mount Rushmore as I initially thought. I'll go
wise
with
decision.
Jimi Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love. It was not his first album in America, but it was the one where he just took things in a completely new direction, creating sounds no one had ever heard coming from a guitar before.
Little Hendrix action. Seltzer, when you think of a great album, what comes to mind?
It's a great answer from Richie there. Anger. He smiles,
Love
towering it. Amazing. All right, I'm going to go with...
I've never heard of it. It's not probably...
Really?
No.
You've never even heard the song
Axis
Bold as Love?
Love?
How about just the song
What's the
Bold
song?
as Love? The title song of the album.
Bold as Love?
Yes.
No. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I might recognize it, but no, I don't recognize the title.
Wow.
Yeah. It's okay.
I had it as my ringtone.
I just want everyone to remember, I get a vote today.
Yeah, you're damn
on
right.
This show. So, all right, Seltzer, what do you got?
All right, I'll go with what I think is for me a Mount Rushmore, but I don't think would have won on this show, and I think it's the best hip-hop album of all time and certainly one of the best albums of all time. The album is perfect, beginning to end, Ready to Die is just the best album.
All right, a lot of ways to go here when you think of great albums. Hit us up, 215-592-9494. I'll give you one, not Mount Rushmore, but from the mid-'90s, a great mid-'90s band with their best album and probably the album that I have listened to the most in my life, and that is the album of Sublime by Sublime. It's got Santeria. It's got a lot
great
of
album.
Got a lot of other great songs. Phenomenal band. You know, he just died right when that thing was, I don't know, it was right when it came out or right before it came out. Like right when Sublime got really pretty big. Let's call him pretty big. Is right when the lead singer and the guy that put it all together died. So that was kind of the end of them as far as greatness goes. I think they've had someone filling in for them and all that, but never the same. All right, hit us up, 215-592-9494. Best album of all time, what is it? We'll get to the fills in a moment. Let's go to John right now. John, you're on WIP.
Hey, guys, good morning.
Hi, John.
I wanted to touch base with you guys about the Eagles. I've been listening to a couple of things this week, and John, you're right on the money. This guy is a joke. It's a travesty.
Yeah.
We are not out there playing our starters, at least a series or two in the beginning of the game. Like you were saying yesterday, you got to go get in there for the repetitions. You need to read and react to different things. And I'm going to say this to all you guys. You wait until you see the first week how many false starts there are. You just wait and see all the mistakes that are going to be made. You can see it coming down the pike. And as far as Roseman goes, when they came out with that article about the agent saying that he was hard to deal with and untrustworthy, that's no shock to us. This guy's crooked as Ridge Avenue. It's just everything everything is smoke and mirrors with this guy.
Yeah, I believe he's more focused on self-preservation than making this team as great as it can be.
You know,
That's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing is when you had Eskin on the other day, he made a point that was really good about why they wouldn't play Hurts, and he kept thinking about it. He said, well, maybe they're going to try to trade him. But I don't know if that's the reason. You can't. That we are not informed.
Well, John, let me be very clear. I did not agree with Howard's theory. See, Howard's theory to me would have held more weight if Hurts was not playing, but a lot of starters were playing. The reason I largely just swatted aside what Howard said is because this is just what they're doing for the most part across the team. So I think Howard was reading too much into it. I really do.
Probably. But you know what? How about these other guys like Lane Johnson and Kelsey and all them? Those guys want to play. They want to play. I mean, it's like you need those repetitions.
I don't know the answer. I don't know that. I don't know that they want to play. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
I believe the coaches want them to play. I believe the
and
coaches are saying, hey, our left guard has never communicated in a game situation with our left tackle. Like, practice is different than games. I know that they think these practices are valuable. The thud tempo is completely different than live bullets and tackling. The whole experience is completely different. It's unique. And these players will enter week one with having never done it.
In a game that they really could win at Atlanta. Like, that's a toss-up game. John, give me a great album. Best of all time. What is it?
All right, I was going to go with something that was more geared towards my age, but I'm not going to do that because it'll probably go down. I'm going to go down. I'm going to say Nirvana, Nevermind, 1991.
All right, boy.
Haymaker.
All right,
to start.
You got it, man. But by the way, I'll say this. Don't discount things that were maybe that guy's age.
I'm probably going to vote for something that guy's age. Personally.
Yeah, so, I mean, that guy might have made the wrong decision there, even though
that's a great. That is a haymaker no matter what.
There are a lot of people who
I don't
would
disagree.
Vote.
All right, Twitter poll question of the day brought to us by the Casino at Delaware Park. You can make a day of it at Delaware Park. Enjoy daily fee golf, lunch, and sports wagering. DelawarePark.com for details. Lottery agent for the Delaware Lottery. You must be 21 to play. Today's question. Have you given up on the Phillies having a realistic chance to make the playoffs? A, yes. B, no. They still got a shot. I mean, they do. They're 5.5 out, like 35 or so games to go. But if you notice the question, giving up on a realistic chance to make the playoffs, A, yes, B, no. All right, John, let's get into it here with the Phils. Another game last night, couple more injuries, another defeat, another bad start by Matt Moore, which, he hadn't always had to start at every stage this year, but they're back to him. Same day that they designate Chase Anderson for I thought it was really ironic that you had the convergence of Chase Anderson and Matt Moore on the same day. One guy gets shipped out, that's Chase Anderson. One guy's got to start because another guy got hurt. That's Matt Moore having to start. The bats were quiet for a while. They come on down the stretch, but basically it was just another lousy game. John Ritchie by our Fightin' Phils, your reaction?
It was horrendous. It was a horrendous watching experience. It was agonizing to watch. And I do think, I didn't check on the time. I'm positive that was more than 4 hours long. And with no reason to be that extended. It was slop. I was convinced from the get-go. It just felt like the team was flat because they knew that the season was over. It felt like they took the field knowing it was curtains anyway. And then with a last-ditch effort, like, hey, wait a second. This team is really bad that we're playing. We might have a chance to pull this out. And it was too little, too late when it all came down to it.
I mean, they were down, what, 8-3 entering the ninth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so
But even so, I mean, the Diamondbacks are
it might have been 8-3,
bad enough. I think it was 8-3 entering the ninth, and they brought it. We had the winning run at the plate.
Yeah, winning run at the plate. Exactly. After Didi's hit. James, have you given up on the Phils having a realistic chance?
Oh, yeah.
But Bryce Harper was once again.
It's over. It's over.
Amazing.
And not just on the field. I mean, Reese Hoskins, this lineup isn't good enough. I mean, you got a lineup with like Torreyes and Galvis and Jankowski, and it's not a winning lineup. Well, it's just not. And I like those guys for who they are and what they are, but they're bench players. So it's got multiple bench players in the starting lineup every night.
James, the Freddie Galvis experience was a positive one, though. I mean, at least I felt when he was out there defensively, like we weren't going to air every time we're trying to get a ball to first. Like, he looked solid.
I don't disagree, but we expect that. I think James's point.
But I've learned to not expect that.
Well, but Freddie's a good defensive player. But I think James's point about, it's often said in baseball, and it really, really has applied to these, I'll call them backup players for the Phils, who did a phenomenal job through a good portion of the summer. Jankowski, even Brad Miller to an extent, certainly Torreyes. You don't overexpose a bench player.
Yep.
Because if you do, they're going to get exposed. And what you're seeing right now are guys that are overmatched. I mean, the Phillies don't have a unless you want to play Freddie Galvis there. They don't really have a starting third baseman. They certainly don't have a starting center fielder. I mean, not one.
Well, if you're going to talk about Freddie being your starting third baseman, your starting third baseman's a better shortstop than your starting shortstop.
Exactly.
Terrific.
Exactly. So, and now you got, Reese out, who was one of the three best hitters on the team this year. You can debate between him and Segura, who was number 2. Harper was obviously number 1. Either Reese or Segura was number 2. And
also gave him a dimension they don't have. Other than McCutchen for a little stretch, like, they don't have that power, that bopper, and he gave them that.
Yep. And like I said, it was not lost on me that you had the convergence of Chase Anderson and Matt Moore on the same day. And you guys know my theory. The Philadelphia Phillies, led by John Middleton, chose to go into a season saying we're trying to win, but not really being committed to winning. Really committed. They were committed to trying to win. They weren't really committed to winning, because if you're really committed to winning, you don't have Matt Moore and Chase Anderson as your 4 and 5 starting the year.
Don't let Dombrowski off the hook, because they spent $7 million on those guys. Like, that money could have – there are other guys who were bought for that type of price who have had much better seasons.
Joe, I think the way that you put that is important. I think that's the way they entered the game yesterday, committed to trying to win. It wasn't a steel resolve, hey, this is when the run starts, guys. It was, oh no, Zach is all of a sudden not able to pitch. Well, we're doomed. Yeah, and Reese,
By the
he's
way,
now out
way,
for the season.
They were
doomed. We're doomed.
They were doomed, by the way. But I get your point.
When you play like that,
yeah.
you sure are.
All right, 215-592-9494. So you can certainly react to the Phils in addition to everything with the Eagles. Let's go to Tom in Abington. Tom, you're on WIP.
Yo, fellas, how we doing today?
Hey, Tom. Doing all right.
All right, so I'm just preparing to attend a fun, spirited, competitive, true football matchup rivalry this evening.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're going. That's good.
Yeah, I'm going to my son's football game, Abington versus Cheltenham.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not watching that swap.
Yeah.
Classic rivalry right there.
Well, it actually is a classic.
I know.
Yeah.
I wasn't joking.
That's
serious.
That's big time.
Yeah. It's going to be a great
By the way,
time.
what school did Eddie?
You can enjoy that.
Was Eddie George Abington or Abington Friends?
I think he was Abington Friends.
I don't know. I don't think it was Abington.
He was giant, is what he was.
Yeah, but he was one of those schools, right? He was from Abington.
Oh, it was Abington High School, so it was not
Abington
Abington
High
Friends.
School? Oh, was it?
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Okay.
Nice. So,
Until the 10th grade, and then he transferred to the military academy.
All right.
So do you guys recall maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and I called the Phillies unlikable?
Yeah.
Do you see that now?
Yeah.
This is an unlikable spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not breaking news, but yeah, I mean, Tom, they lack. Look, it's hard to believe in them. They lack a certain degree of personality. They've got a manager who's really let us down. They've got an owner who is committed to trying but not committed to winning.
No, he is committed to look like he's trying. That's
well,
what he's committed to.
when you're in the top 7 of payroll, that's not nothing. But we knew I knew entering the year it was going to be just short. I mean, that's what I said. I was very clear about that. I didn't know, but that's what I thought. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm like running out of negative things to say, and I was telling James I'm getting on my own nerves with these phone calls.
Yeah.
But this is so frustrating, man. I've had it with these teams. But with all this madness going on, you, Joe, can brighten up the Delaware Valley today.
How's that, Tom?
Just tank beat the hammer.
Yeah. Give us what we want. Give the people what they want.
Well, would I get?
Got to give the people.
Would I
That
get?
would be such a gesture,
But
Joe.
Tom, would I get credit
Give
for
the people
tanking?
what they want.
Would I get
I'll
credit?
give you credit.
Now, how will you know if I tanked? If I miss questions that I obviously know the answer to?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll just take.
He'll never tank. He'll never tank. If he loses, he lost on his own.
So I got to tell you, the idea of tanking is somewhat appeling because
If
it's-
you
Now
lose,
you
you
have
could
an
just say
out.
you tanked.
well, no,
I'll tell you
it's
what,
really
if-
haughty. I mean, you only tank if you think you're actually pretty good, or
if
the
you
other.
could commit to trying to tank, I'll commit to trying to get through on the line.
Wow, look at this.
Tom, if you commit to if you actually get through on the line,
Will you tank?
no, I'll whoop your ass.
I'm not
Tom,
gonna.
give me a great album.
Oh, the best
What do
album
you
of
got
all
to say for
time.
yourself, little chump? Which album?
Best album of all time is Zeppelin 4, hands down.
All right, Tom, great answer right
Great
there.
one.
215-592-9494. All right, up ahead, Ray Dininger. We asked him earlier this week his prediction of whether the Eagles would play the starters or whether they would play Jalen Hurts tonight and whether he thinks they should play Hurts. What Ray had to say about it, now that we know Eagles starters really aren't going to play, I mean, based on some reports we've seen, we'll get to that. We'll rock all the calls. Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie. And by the way, for the record, I don't plan on tanking Beat the Hammer today. I certainly plan on winning it. We'll get to that at noon. It's all up ahead on 94 WIP. Hey, one of the things I love about betting on FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino is you get more than one shot to swing for the fences. Right now, new and existing users get up to $25 back in site credit each day. Just place a minimum 5-leg baseball parlay, and if it falls one leg short, you get up to $25 back with parlay insurance. There is a reason. Actually, there are so many reasons why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app, simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and always-on promotions to let you get the most action out of every game day. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings fast and as little as 24 hours. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 94 WIP. So whether it's baseball or any of the other sports, we got a pro football game tonight, all the options are there for you, including parlay insurance with FanDuel Sportsbook. And you can, of course, sign up now using promo code HAMMER. And remember, I've said this to you before, new users can place their first bet risk-free. You heard it right, $1,000 back to you in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. Sign up using promo code HAMMER. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code HAMMER with FanDuel Sportsbook.
Coming September 1st, Rewind 9/11.
Today, we've had a national tragedy.
An incredible plane crash into the World Trade Center.
A look back at the tragedy of that day.
Another explosion has taken place at the Pentagon.
It became very apparent that what was happening was terrorism.
Fox News presents Rewind 9/11.
The people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Listen on Odyssey.
CuriosityStream has thousands of documentary films and shows available on demand on any device. We're the Netflix for nerds, the Hulu for history buffs, the Disney Plus for the scientist in us. There sure are a lot of streaming services, aren't there? CuriosityStream is the one you definitely need if you're the type to nature dock and chill, if you're an armchair astronaut, if you prefer physics to psychics, or perhaps you know a precocious paleontologist. Go to curiositystream.com to learn more and sign up today.